Yeah. Hello, everyone. I am Quan, an IP attorney and partner of KENFOX IP Law Office. It's my great honor today to share with you a topic of great importance to Chinese businesses operating in Vietnam, that is trademark squatting in Vietnam, risks and strategies for Chinese brand owners. As you know, Vietnam is a market full of potential with a rapidly growing economy. However, this market also poses many risks for Chinese businesses, especially in terms of brand infringement. While concrete figure is not available, we have recently observed an increase in inquiry regarding trademark dispute and infringement in Vietnam involving Chinese brands. This shows the seriousness of the trademark infringement issue and its potential detrimental impacts on business reputation and revenue. In this presentation, we will focus our discussion on potential risks faced by Chinese brands in Vietnam, the latest amendment to Vietnam's IP law, typical trademark infringement cases, and effective strategies to combat such practices. Together with me today is my colleague Ms. Hong from KENFOX IP Law Office, who will also share some parts of the presentation to you. I am confident that the information and solutions presented in this session will empower you to effectively protect your brands in Vietnamese market. So let's delve into the presentation content together. All right. My presentation today is divided into 7 parts, as you can see on the screen. Let's start with the first part, overviews of China's investment situation in Vietnam. So let's move into the first part, namely overviews of China investment situation in Vietnam. China and Vietnam are witnessing a period of booming economic cooperation. Chinese investment is surging in Vietnam with a nearly 70% increase compared to last year. This investment is transforming the landscape of Vietnam's economy. Chinese investment is no longer concentrated in a few areas, but is spreading across Vietnam from the north to the south and from the major city to industrial zones. And this diversification is creating jobs and boosting the local economies throughout Vietnam. But what's driving this investment boom? There are some key factors. Firstly, many Chinese companies are looking to relocate their supply chains to the country with lower costs. Vietnam, with its skilled workforce and strategic location, is a perfect fit. Secondly, the ongoing trade tension between US and China are encouraging Chinese companies to diversify their investment. And the good news is that the investment boom is a win-win situation for both China and Vietnam. And China is gaining access to new markets and lower production costs. And Vietnam is undergoing significant economic growth. By working together, China and Vietnam are building a strong and interconnected business ecosystem that will benefit the entire region. Yeah. And we have just talked about China's growing investment footprint in Vietnam, but let's look at the numbers here. In the first 11 months of 2023 alone, China has poured more than $3 billion 3 billion US dollar into 632 new projects in Vietnam. That makes China the leading source of new projects in Vietnam. But it's not just about the quantity, it's also about the quality. China is investing heavily in major economic zones throughout Vietnam, from Hanoi in the north to Ho Chi Minh City in the south. And you can see here, China investment reaches across 42 provinces and cities in Vietnam, showing their deep commitment to the country. And overall, China's ranked 6th out of 143 countries investing in Vietnam, with a staggering total investment capital exceeding 27 billion US dollar. These numbers are undeniable proof of Vietnam's growing importance in China's global investment strategy. Yeah. We have seen the impressive figures about behind China investment boom in Vietnam, but what exactly this Chinese company investing in? Let's take a closer look at some of the key projects driving this growth. The slide here showcases a range of Chinese investment in Vietnam, from the solar energy to electric vehicles and beyond. We've got the major player here, for example, Daily Group, a leading stationery manufacturer, or Zinco Solar Holding, a huge name in solar technology, or BYD Group, China's top electric vehicle company. And these are thus a few examples, and the range of investment is vast, from smartphone assembler to aluminum alloy. Chinese companies are placing their bets on Vietnam's manufacturing potential. And the list of Chinese projects here highlights a key trend. China's investment in Vietnam is diversifying beyond traditional sectors. We are seeing a move into the areas like solar power, electric vehicles, electronics, and even stationery, reflecting the Vietnam's growing potential across industries. Yeah. So let's move to the part 2, changes of Vietnam's IP law in the last 2 years. Yeah, great news for Chinese brands entering Vietnam. Since 2019, Vietnam has taken significant steps to strengthen its IP landscape, offering better protection for your brand. Let's explore some exciting developments. First, the national IP strategy. Vietnam has a clear roadmap for the future, with a comprehensive national IP strategy outlining ambitious goals for 2030. This translates to a long-term commitment to IP protection. And second, going global. Vietnam is actively participating in the global IP ecosystem through the new generation free trade agreement, or we can say FTA, like CPTPP or EVFTA or RCEP or UKVFTA here. And third, legal reform. To harmonize domestic laws with international IP commitment, Vietnam undertook the third amendment of its IP law in 2022. This ensures your IP rights are protected by the latest legal framework. Yeah. And great news for protecting your brand in Vietnam. In 2022, Vietnam's IP law received a significant overhaul or amendment, introducing stronger protection for trademarks, patent, copyright, and here's what this means for you. First, there are more ways to protect your brand. You can now register catchy sound here as a trademark alongside logos and slogans. This offers broader protection for your brand identity. And second, stronger well-known trademark protection. The law provides clearer definition of well-known trademark, making it easier to enforce your brand reputation. And third, fight the trademark squatter. A new concept called bad faith, allows you to challenge trademarks filed with malicious intent. This will help you. To challenge the trademark filed with malicious intent. And fourth, more opportunity to oppose trademarks. The law offers two ways to oppose the trademarks application. The first one is formal opposition within 5 months. And the second mechanism is a third-party observation during the pendency of the trademark application. This gives you more control over the trademark landscape. And I can say that the amendments under Vietnam's IP law aim to create a more robust, transparent IP system in Vietnam, strengthening protection and enforcement mechanism for IP access and improve harmonization with international standards. Yeah. And now let's move to part 3, squatting of Chinese trademarks in Vietnam, serious and vulnerable. Yeah. Chinese companies are increasingly establishing a foothold in Vietnam, thriving market. However, a significant challenge they encounter is trademark squatting. This practice involves individuals or businesses registering trademark identical or confusingly similar to well-known Chinese brands. Let's take a real-world example here. KENFOX Robotic Company Limited, a leading Chinese robotic company known for their default vacuum cleaners, face the trademark squatting in Vietnam. One Vietnamese individual attempted to register depot as the trademark, and another tried to register the EcoVac as trademark. This exemplifies the serious need of the trademark squatting for Chinese company entering the Vietnamese market. Or you can see here, the screen here, the Vietnamese company tried to register the logo pet kit, identical to the Chinese logo pet kit here. Yeah. And imagine walking down the street and seeing your company name sign hanging above a completely different store. That's essentially what trademark squatting is. Trademark squatting is like someone stealing your name sign and putting it on their own store, trying to trick customer into thinking that they are affiliated with you. And trademark squatting happens when someone registers a trademark that is very similar to your existing brand name or logo, often with the bad faith intention. And they do this not to use the brand themselves, but to prevent you from using it in Vietnam. Yeah. Entering the Vietnamese market is exciting, but be aware of trademark squatter. These are individuals or companies who register your brand name or a similar one before you do. This can lead to serious problems. First, market access denied. If a squatter owns a trademark, you may be legally prohibited from selling your products under your brand name in Vietnam. This can significantly limit your ability to reach Vietnamese customers. And second, brand confusion and dilution. Squatting can weaken your brand identity. If consumers see similar trademarks, they may get confused about the source of the products, potentially damaging your brand reputation. And finally, legal battle and expense. Even if you win a battle against a squatter, it can be very long and expensive process. This can drain your resources and distract you from focusing on growing your business in Vietnam. And in this slide is the figures about the trademark application directly filed with the IP Office of Vietnam by foreigners and the Chinese applicants during 2020 to 2023. And here is a statistic about the total trademark filed by the foreigners here. And below here is the figures about the total trademarks filed by the Chinese applicant during 2020 to 2023. And in this slide, you can see the statistic about the trademark application that indirectly filed by the with the IP Office of Vietnam by the Chinese applicants during 2020 to 2023 are filed under the merit system. And here is the statistic about the total trademarks filed by the foreigners under the merit system. And below here is the total trademarks filed by the Chinese applicant under the merit system. Yeah. Okay. As you can see, there has been a significant increase in the number of trademarks filed directly with the IP Office of Vietnam by the Chinese applicant between 2020 and 2023. In fact, there has been a 93% increase from 1,962 trademark applications in 2020 to 3,783 in 2023. And this reflects a growing presence of Chinese brand entering the Vietnamese market, which is a positive development for both economies. Increased trust and investment benefits both countries. With more Chinese brand entering Vietnam, there is a higher risk of squatters targeting well-known Chinese trademarks, and this squatter might copy or register the trademark hoping to profit from the established reputation. And like China, Vietnam uses the first to file system for trademarks. That means whoever first file will get the rights, regardless of who came first. This creates a risk for the Chinese brands. Be first or be squashed. If someone else could snatch your brand name in Vietnam, if you are not quick, squatters have an opportunity to register the trademark similar to well-known Chinese brand before the rightful owner do. This can create a significant difficulty for Chinese company trying to launch their brands in Vietnam, and they might face the legal battles or be forced to rebrand for the Vietnamese market. And no China protection here. Your Chinese trademark doesn't apply in Vietnam. It's important to remember that trademark protection is territorial. and squatter can easily and quickly register the similar trademark, leaving you with no protection. Okay, so now let's move to the part 4, bad faith trademark cases targeting Chinese brand in Vietnam. I would like to introduce my colleague, Ms. Hong, a senior associate with more than 15 years of experience in addressing complicated trademark disputes and infringement in Vietnam. She will discuss this part with you.